A poor janitor quietly cleaned the hallways of a prestigious school every night. Students passed him without a second glance, but for 10 years he carried a secret. Every month, part of his tiny salary disappeared into an anonymous account to pay one student's tuition. The boy never knew who his mysterious guardian was. Then, on graduation day, the truth came out, and not a single person in the room could hold back their tears. Part 1. The boy who was about to lose everything. In a small American town lived a bright student named Ethan Parker. His father had passed away, and his mother worked 2 jobs to keep food on the table. Ethan dreamed of becoming a doctor, but life had other plans. One afternoon, his mother received a letter from the school. Tuition must be paid within 2 weeks, or Ethan will have to leave. She cried silently that night, thinking her son's future was over. Unknown to them, someone overheard the conversation. It was the school's elderly janitor, Mr. Thomas Miller. Part 2. The janitor's secret decision. Mr. Thomas was nearly 70 years old. He lived alone in a tiny apartment and owned very little. His wife had died years earlier, and they had once lost their only son. Looking at Ethan reminded him of the child he never got to watch grow up. That night, he made a decision. He went to the principal's office and said, "I want to help that boy." The principal looked shocked. "But the tuition is expensive." Thomas smiled. "I don't need much to live. Just promise you won't tell anyone." From that day on, he worked extra shifts, cleaned offices at night, and gave up every luxury. He secretly paid Ethan's school fees. Part 3. 10 years of sacrifice. Years passed. Whenever tuition was due, the payment arrived anonymously. Ethan always wondered who his guardian angel was. Meanwhile, Thomas wore old shoes, skipped meals, and never bought anything for himself. The principal once asked, "Why are you doing this?" Thomas answered, "Kindness doesn't need applause." Ethan graduated from high school with honors, then college, then medical school. The secret continued for 10 long years. Part 4. The truth comes out at Ethan's medical school graduation. The university announced a special guest. The principal walked onto the stage. He said, "Today there is someone here who changed a life." Without asking for recognition, the audience looked around. Then the spotlight stopped on the old janitor sitting quietly in the back row. Ethan was confused. The principal revealed everything. For 10 years, the janitor had secretly paid for Ethan's education. The hall fell silent. Ethan couldn't believe it. Tears streamed down his face. He ran across the stage and hugged. "Thomas, why would you do this for me?" Thomas smiled. "Because someone once believed in me, and I wanted you to have a chance." Part 5. The unexpected endings. A few years later, Thomas became seriously ill. He couldn't afford treatment. When he arrived at the hospital, a doctor walked into the room. It was Ethan. He smiled and said, "You spent 10 years saving my future. Now it's my turn to save your life." Ethan paid for every medical bill. When Thomas recovered, Ethan handed him a small envelope. Inside was the deed to a beautiful little house. Thomas looked surprised. "You don't owe me this." Ethan smiled. "No, I owe you everything." Ending message. Mr. Thomas never became rich. He never became famous. But because one ordinary janitor chose kindness over comfort, a struggling boy became a doctor and changed countless lives. Sometimes, the greatest heroes aren't the ones standing on a stage. They're the ones quietly helping others when nobody is watching. Remember, a single act of kindness can echo for generations.